All rise. We will obey. The International Criminal Court is now in session. The Densela Court Penal International, 8 of word. Please be seated. Waivers as well.
Thank you very much. Court officer, please call the case.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Court officer, thank you, Mr. President. Situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samoei Ruto and Joshua Arapsang, ICC 01090111. We are in open session.
Ladies and appearances.
Good morning, Your Honours, Mr. President. For the prosecution, only by the absence of Mr. Peter Scotsman this morning.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. On our side, our team remains the same. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honours. Mr. Sang's team remains the same. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. The defence for Mr. Ruto remains the same. And just to announce that Mr. Ruto is in court today.
That's noted. Witness, welcome back to the stand. Mr. Garcia will continue his examination in chief of you. I also wish to remind you to keep in mind what I told you earlier. Listen carefully to the question. You understand the question that is being asked of you, and then just think about the answer and just answer that question. Once you finish answering it as briefly as possible, but as completely as you can, you stop there and wait for the next question. Also remember to observe the pauses between the question being asked of you and you beginning to answer the question. We need you to think about counting in your mind up to about 5 seconds to allow the interpreter to do their work properly, and the court reporters as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are still in open session, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, good morning, Your Honours. Indeed, we can continue an open session for a bit, and I'll ask to go in private session.
And you did say that you hope to finish by lunch break today.
Indeed, Your Honour.
Proceed.
Good morning, witness.
Good morning.
Now, just before I ask you additional questions, I just want to situate you. When we left off yesterday, you were speaking to us about how you were observing on the morning of the 31st of December 2007, Kalenjin youths coming from Sogoi and heading to Turbo Town. Now, in relation to Sogoi, could you tell the court what is Sogoi? Is this a village, a city? What is it exactly?
Sogoi is a location.
And what is the main ethnic group in Sogoi?
Kalenjin.
And approximately, can you tell the court what is the distance from Turbo Town to Sogoi? And if you're not good with distances, how much time would it take for a person to go, let's say, walking from Turbo Town to Sogoi?
If I may say, there is a river which is in between Sogoi and Turbo Town. So it's not very far from Turbo Town. But of course, Sugoi is a big, not small. If I say location, it is big.
Council, I do not want to interrupt your flow, but can we clarify exactly what this concept of location is in the context in which it is being used, so that it is not something that everybody can relate to? You said village or town or city. Witness said location. Now she's telling us that location is big. So what exactly is this?
I'm guided by the chamber. Yes, indeed.
You might even agree amongst yourselves. From your colleagues can also suggest, so see if we can get a...
I'm going to ask the witness, and she'll be able to clarify, I'm sure. Now, witness, you've heard the court's comment. Can you just explain to us briefly how would you compare a location to a village or to a city?
A location is if I may say, it is turbo division, and then it has locations in it, like Sugoi location, Tapsagoi location, Nyanyilel. So all is that turbo division.
Your Honour, if I may assist, Your Honour, we have no objection if Council wants to lead on these matters.
Now, witness, the question that I had asked before is, if someone were to leave from Turbo Town direction and to arrive at Mr. Ruto's house in Sugoi, how much time would that take walking?
To walk to Honorable Ruto's home is very far from Turbo Town. But what I was saying is I didn't mean that the youth were coming from Ruto's home. No. They were coming from Kosajay Center, which is in Sugoi location.
No, we understood that, witness, but still the same question. How much time would it take a person walking from Turbo Town to the house of Mr. Ruto in Sugoi?
Approximately from Turbo Town, walking distance is like 2 hours. Yeah.
Now, let's get back to these youth that you had observed on that day, on the 31st of December in the morning. Can you tell us approximately how many of them were there? How many of them did you see?
It was 5 to 10.
And from the distance that you were seeing them, were you able to determine how they were dressed?
Yes. They were in normal dresses.
Were you able to determine from where you were seeing them if they were carrying anything, if they had anything in their hands?
No.
Your Honors, could we go into private session? 2 minutes.
Private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
We're in open session, Your Honour.
Yes, I was...
All right. Now, witness, before we move on and I ask you some questions about what you saw of these youths who were approaching, and you said at about 3 or 4, I just want to come back to this question of Sogoi, and if it's possible, would it be possible to put on the screen document KenOTP 00970393.
Monsieur Garcia, pourriez-vous...
Mr. Garcia, could you confirm that the document is public? Indeed it is public, says Mr. Garcia.
Now, witness, this is, do you see the map before you on the screen?
Yes.
Now, do you see that there's an indication there? You see Turbo, you see Somken petrol station, and then over towards the right hand, bottom right, you see a place called Sogoi, and there's an X. Is that, in general, the direction of Sogoi from Turbo Town? Is that accurate?
Correct.
Thank you. Your Honors, could we have this document tendered into evidence as well in the prosecution exhibit?
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
No objection.
Document is admitted as next in the prosecution exhibits.
Le document KEN.
Document KEN-OTP 00970393. Public will have the number EBD-T OTP 00099.
Can we briefly go back into private session and leave the map on screen, but we go into private session?
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Open session, Your Honor.
Now, witness, you mentioned that you observed about 50 to 100 youths arriving from the direction of Beshiabor and heading to Turbo Town. Were you able to determine from where you were observing how they were dressed, these youths?
They were in normal dresses.
Were you able to tell from where you were observing whether they had anything in their hands?
I didn't see anything in the hands.
Now, you mentioned that at one specific moment, the group of youth split. Is that correct?
Correct.
You mentioned as well that they split at the point where they reached the police post. Is that correct as well?
Before police post.
And can you just explain this police post? Was it a big police post? How many policemen were there?
In Turbo, there is a police post and a police station. Police post is the smaller one, and the police station is a bigger one.
All right. And after the, you also mentioned that when they split, some of these Kalenjins went towards their church. Are you speaking about the Turbo Catholic Church?
Yeah, after the church, they passed, there are small routes going towards For Jesus through Turbo Church.
And what is exactly For Jesus?
It's like an estate.
Now, while these youth were advancing, the 50 to 100 youth, were you able to observe what they were doing?
No.
Could we go into private session, Your Honor? A couple of minutes.
Private session.
Court officer, we are in open session, Mr. President.
Now, witness, a question, a simple one actually. On the 1st of January 2008, were you able to observe what was going on in Turbo Town in the center, the houses?
Yeah, it was burning all over. You see there, but they didn't burn houses, all of them once. It was like they burned today and then tomorrow again others, because there were so many houses there. It was residential houses, and there was a shopping center, businesses there.
You say that they didn't burn the houses all at once, all of them at once. How much time, for how many days did this go on, the burning of houses in Turbo Town?
I'm assuming that they were looting first the property in the shopping center or stores, and then after that they burn. I'm assuming that, but I am not saying that it was like that.
I understand that, witness, but for how many days did you observe, you personally, how many days did you observe that the houses were burning in Turbo Town?
It was like 5 days.
Now, let you drink your water. Now, witness, just to give us an idea, approximately how many houses were burnt or shops were burnt in this period of 5 days that you estimate?
I can't give the number. I don't want to lie.
I understand that, witness, and I appreciate that, and I don't want you to induce the court into error neither, but would it be more or less than 20? Are you able to give us give us that information?
Because Turbo Town is from Kobil up to a place called Springback. So there were Kikuyus, all that areas. So the houses was burned different. I could not see even those ones, but it was. So I can't give the figure.
But are you able to tell us whether it was more or less than 20 houses or shoppings?
Of course, it was more than 20.
And if I were to ask you if it was more or less than 50, would you be able to give us an answer?
It was more than 50.
And who was burning these houses, witness?
As I told the court, I didn't see anyone burning it, but I managed to see houses was burned. The person who was burning, I don't know, but I assume that it was the youth, Kalenjin youth.
Can you tell the court why you assume it was Kalenjin youths? Just so we understand you.
I assume that because of that difference between ODM and PNU supporters.
Did you see any of the looting or pillaging, you personally?
Yes, I witnessed someone carrying card sheets, and another one was carrying boxes. I didn't know what was inside the boxes. And then he was passing by. I managed to ask him.
One second, witness. Thank you for your hesitation. Your Honor, if we can just go into private briefly.
We go into private session.